Hi everyone. So today I am going to talk about fear. We often have fear and we're afraid or we're scared of things. Marie Curie said that there's nothing to be afraid of, it is only to be understood. So we can think about that when we face a situation where we're scared or we have fear. So I'm going to read an article. I got this from Gordon Training International. I will share the link on the description below. This is an article by Linda Adams, who's president of GTI. So it's fear, nothing to be afraid of. So nothing to be afraid of. So with a question mark at the end. So I will read um, about a little of this article. So there are many things that we fear. There are a lot of things. Just for example, fear of speaking in public, or fear of losing a job, fear of making a mistake, or of making a big decision. So I will start reading. What happens when fears aren't faced? What we often do when one of these fears pops up is catastrophize it. We allow the fear to control our thoughts, our words, and our actions. We imagine all the horrible things that might happen if we were to act as a result. We let our fear immobilize us. Because the fear is often of the unknown, of change, we choose to be cautious and safe and stay with what we know. We stop ourselves from taking on certain challenges, actions, and relationships. We adjust to unpleasant or bad or unhealthy situations because that's more comfortable than facing the unknown. If we want to generalize, we could call this fear of living. Fear of living. Psychologist Dr. Rochelle Myers said most people tiptoe through life trying to reach death safely. The problem is when we choose continually to avoid or escape or adjust to situations that make us anxious rather than resolving them, our world shrinks. When we choose to avoid dealing with fearful situations instead of moving through them, we confine and restrict our lives. Take a minute and think about your own life. Are the situations which you don't like but choose not to change because it seems easier to live with what you know rather than risk change? Something unknown, which could improve or enhance your life? What can we do about these fears? Fear is just like any other problem we have. It can only be dealt with and resolved when we allow ourselves to be fully conscious of it. Choose to confront it, move through it, and ultimately overcome it. There's no question that parents have a powerful influence and how we look at and deal with fear. Just as children learn many of their attitudes and values from their parents, they also learn their fears. Just as important, they learn how to handle fear by observing how their parents deal with it. If parents act helpless in the face of fear, children learn to avoid fearful situations, feeling they can't cope with them. If parents show courage when faced with a fearful situation, children learn that they too can cope with fear. The good news here is that what you have learned, you can unlearn. Fears can be unlearned. And there's a great deal of research that proves this to be the case. Many fears, even intense ones, can be reduced or eliminated. So there's no such thing as I was born that way, I was made that way. We can always unlearn patterns. Even though it may not always seem like it, we have a choice every time we face a situation that causes us fear. We can allow it to limit, narrow, and constrain our lives, or we can choose to confront it and move through it. As we all know, choosing to avoid and not to deal with fear is not a good solution because fear that isn't acknowledged and dealt with doesn't go away. And not only does it remain, it often becomes worse over time. When we can take responsibility of our own fears, we are then in a position to deal with them and move through them. Courage doesn't mean the absence of fear and anxiety. It means having the capacity to move ahead even even though we're afraid. It means perseverance despite fear. Getting the courage to do it anyway. Do it anyway. This starts with the awareness that there are some fears that are standing in your way. They are interfering with your being able to fully function as effectively as you want to. That leads to a motivation to increase your courage so that you can function more effectively. Next comes a willingness to move out of your comfort zone. A comfort zone being all the routine things that we do and say every day that that feel comfortable and safe. We need this comfort zone, no question about it, and we need to be in it much of the time. We need to feel safe and comfortable, but we also need challenges and change in order to learn and grow and develop, and it's necessary to move out of your comfort zone in order to accomplish this. It's helpful to make a list of your fears, things that you're afraid to do or say. Think about fears that disrupt your life, things that keep you from fully functioning. These fears might include such things as making a presentation to a prospective new client, going someplace you've never been before on your own, initiating conversations with new people in businesses or social situations. I will leave, if you want to read, you can read, keep reading the list. The more specifically you can define the fear, the greater the likelihood of your being able to work to overcome it, of your being able to work to overcome it. Once you've clearly defined some of your fears, here are 3 steps you can use to move through them. Use others as a model. I've used this, using others as a model. That is, observe people you respect or admire successfully do the behavior that you're afraid to do. Find people who are fearless about something that scares you and watch them. Observe as many people as you can and as many times as possible. Also bring to mind any past successes, either of others or your own. This works, it's worked. Practice or rehearse. This is a way of trying out new behaviors in your mind before doing them in real life. I've also done this. Um, Imagine or visualize yourself successfully doing or saying it what it is you fear. It's important to see yourself going through the motions. It's possible actually If it's possible, actually practice without pressure. Say in front of a mirror or with a friend Say in front of a mirror or with a friend. During this step, it's important to consciously relax to reduce your tension by deep breathing. Breathe in, breathe out. Number 3, do it. Go ahead and try out the thing you've been afraid to do or say. And number 3 is action. You have to do it. The presence of fear can signal an opportunity or a challenge instead of an uncomfortable problem to be avoided. So this really works. Once you've done those things, you face your fear and a whole new world opens up in front of you. When fears can be named and accepted as such, they become possible to handle. It's even possible that you might welcome their existence as opportunities to become more of the person you want to be. So that's the important thing. That opens up, and it's really a wonderful process. And there are many things we are afraid of throughout life, so we have to be brave enough and have the courage to face them. And you always learn, and that is a very beautiful process. So I'll see you later. Bye.